Hey guys, sorry for the lateness on this very video here on Wrestling Fan Open My Night. It's quite honestly, I'll be honest with you, I've been busy working. Absolutely flat out this past week. I've had more shifts than normal, which is handy to have. Then I tried to, lo and behold, try and obviously upload this earlier in the week, other than just when I've literally got a little bit of free time. Then someone tries to hack into my account. And I'm thinking, okay, got to change my password. Someone tried to log in from Newcastle under the line. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, who the fuck would do that, let alone try attempt it? And then, obviously, my previous videos I've actually uploaded, I share them onto fucking Reddit. And I tell you one thing, people on Reddit are very toxic and very nitpicky, worse than I am when it comes to professional wrestling. If I like stuff or don't like stuff, they are so nitpicky to the point where if I AI a thumbnail, they're like, "Who's watching this shit with a crappy thumbnail?" Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Because I've been there, done it. I've took it to heart in the past. I've had death threats, life threat and centre when I sported TNA. Fast forward fucking 10 years later, you got WWE fans supporting TNA now. How much times can change in 10 years, eh? So there is a glimmer of hope that AEW fucking will get liked by a lot of people on social media in 10 years' time. There is actually a glimmer of hope. Oh, wait a minute. Only like it if it was working with WWE. Now, the thing is, as you know full well for many, many years, I've always been honest with you guys, and that's why I opened up this video this way. Nice fucking try, you fucking assholes. You may fucking. It makes me laugh when people critique what people want to say about professional wrestling, and yet you go on social media, do it in text form. I do it in video forms, boys and girls. I don't give a flying fuck, right? What you, as an individual, right, are trying to do to my fandom. I stick by what I say. A lot of people stick by it or don't stick by it. End of the day, I have a supporting people that enjoy my content, right? If you are that jealous to try and take a channel down, all I can fucking say to every one of you guys, right? Make your own videos, make your own channels, but trolling, that's all I can say to you. Nice fucking try, because quite honestly, right? I'm going to be honest with you, right? I support what I want to support. Not because you make me want to say good things about WWE. You know, right? It doesn't bother me, right? It doesn't bother me, We all can't think the same, but everyone's one trick fucking minded when it comes to fucking wrestling, At times it's bad enough with other sports, but this is sports entertainment meant to be a world of make believe, But you just sit there try and fucking hack a channel because you don't like my opinion. But anyway, this is what I'm going to say to you guys, right? All I can say is I finally got to watch AEW Revolution 2026 and I thought it was an amazing pay per view. I'm looking forward to going all in. I'm hoping to get tickets sorted for Monday, so when Paddy sorts it all out, because obviously I've done the other part. I've got the hotel booked, I've got Rev Pro, I've got Progress. Quite honestly, stat weekend, and obviously we're hoping to fit more in. Now, I'm looking at the bigger picture here, guys, right? When it comes to AEW, other than Revolution was actually a phenomenal pay per view, the great returns, but the most talking point I could think of from that, the negativity towards it, that I feel like wasn't necessary. Yes, Tony Storm has come. They've come out today. Rumors and speculation she's out for the minimum of rest of the year. Right? You know one thing, right? With the attack that happened on Dynamite, I feel like it could be meaner, but I was also thinking, could this be the way they've actually brought Britt Baker back? You know, because she's jealous of her success. Same way with both of them, right? That's just my idea going forward. That could be an interesting angle, you know, because obviously whoever did the attack will get the success. And then when I look at the pay per view, you could easily point fingers at Maria Shafir, but I've got a feeling that she's going to end up forming a tag team. Not a single run, a tag team, you know, with the likes of Ronda Rousey. Now, speaking of Ronda Rousey, all I can say is to you guys, right? I respected her MMA stuff. Don't get me wrong. Didn't respect her WWE stuff. Although her very first match she actually had was at WrestleMania. You know, the tag match. I thought that was entertaining. But then her moveset got very boring and very placid and very lackluster. You know, below average. That's just hand on heart, no bullshit yet, whichever side it is. And I'll be honest with you, I couldn't give a fuck about Ronda Rousey at the moment. You know, she may be running her mouth on social media, saying certain things that towards your former employees, especially UFC. I was really surprised how much she badmouthed the likes of UFC. Open her mouth up, open a trap, you know. And I'm not being funny. The way you've said it, I'm not being funny. If you take this wrong, I do apologize. But all I can say is this: you've just bitten off the mouth that feeds you. You've bitten off the hand that feeds you to basically put the food on your table and all that. Your brand, basically everything that you've earned to make a living in the sport of MMA and got you into the Hall of Fame. You've broken grounds and then you badmouth them. It's bad enough recently that Ronda Rousey's spitting fucking left, right, and centre, spitting a dummy or pacifier out of her mouth, you know, and fucking bad mouthing WWE. Now she's actually saying that for airtime, she had to give basically for her to get airtime that she was literally a premonition to have sexual favors. Now, I've seen a lot of people AI the picture between the likes of Triple H and her, and I'm thinking, are you fucking for real? If comes out, what she's talking about is like chatting out of her ass, right? Just for that attention to give herself in the public eye. It's the same what fucking Katie Price does here in the United Kingdom, or formerly known as Jordan. You know, the stuff that she's been doing with Harvey Price and all that, like her own son. And some of it is cringeworthy to the point where I think, ugh, incest. You know, you could cross your mind that the way she acts towards the poor lad. Yes, I know he's like got difficulties and all that lot, but it's just the way she uses him to give herself exposure to the internet world, and I'm thinking, okay, fair enough. And then this is the same thing with Ronda Rousey. Now, here's the thing: is when Ronda Rousey was in the company, was Vince McMahon around? Then that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But the shit that she's coming out with, it seems unbelievable because she's now coming out with it, but she's not taking them to fucking court with it. You know, you can blab it all over social media, you know, but you are going to get that reputation. That reputation just for that attention seeking little bitch. You know, and that's just me being honest. And, you know, I'm not being funny. Yes, if I did meet her, that'd be one of the bucket list. Fair enough, because of MMA career. But my God, you are putting yourself foot in it left, right, and centre. It's very controversial stuff to the point where I just feel like the negative heat at the moment that she's getting by WWE fans telling her to fuck off and everything like that. And then if she goes to AEW, and this is one thing is that I do not listen to Vince Russo, I don't listen to Bubba Ray, I don't listen to people that has been around in the business in a while when people say, "Oh, this is a great move for AEW to recruit her." Why? Because she's having fucking cheap heat left, right, and center. The one of the most hated women in professional wrestling, even though she's literally sucks at it. You know, I'm not being funny. If she's the most hated woman at the moment, God forbid people's lives. God forbid. Because I look at the bigger picture of this, right? With all this negative heat that she could bring to the likes of AEW, and they're trying to shake away from that. You know, it could be just a one-off. You know, because of obviously the MMA fight with Ronda Rousey and I forget her name on the likes of Netflix. Because Maria Shafir's in her corner. I'm just hoping it's just a fucking one-off appearance, just to get people talking about AEW. But the problem is you've gone on a negative route about it, even though the match is delivered on that Revolution pay-per-view. But it's weird to think, right? It works in AEW's favor to a point because you got to think, right? After all the things that's actually happened on Revolution, Ronda Rousey outshined them all because she got AEW talked about. You know, a lot of people negative, fair enough, stereotypical, but obviously AEW want to take a break from that stereotypical route, the negativity. But then you bring in the likes of Ronda Rousey, is that going to bring on a negative heat towards the company? Even more, you want people to watch your product. Yes, you may draw and bring eyes onto the product. It's interesting to see which way you're going to go now because obviously the way she's literally attacked the likes of Tony Storm, and yet Tony Storm's now out injured. What are you going to do? You left yourself in a right pickle going forward because are you literally going to have, instead of her, you're going to have Mina versus Ronda Rousey first? Or is it going to be Mia Shafir versus Mina? It could end up that way because you could have different avenues towards the storyline. But it's just one of those things, guys, that I don't want any Ronda Rousey anything to do with WWE, AEW because she didn't do much for running WWE. She didn't add anything to what WWE had to put it is trying to break from. And then when they've got the likes of the Evolution situation and the fucking, that's why I feel like it was all developed just for Ronda Rousey. That's how I felt when it was like being materialized. Could have been done, executed so much better. But then you look at the likes of the way she's been brought into WWE. Keep saying WWE. I do apologize. If she's brought into AEW, she got a different moveset. She got to do the same old boring shit that we've seen in the likes of WWE. I don't know. I'm in literally mixed emotions with this. I'm not actually happy about it. Don't get me wrong. That's me being honest. I'm being fucking honest with you, like I always am. I'm not happy with her coming in the company. She doesn't add anything to the women's division. She won't add anything to the women's tag team division if that goes down that route. You know, it's just all messed up. If Tony Khan thought this was a good idea bringing her in because of the negative heat that they've actually got against WWE, what are you going to do? Like, probably on Collision or maybe Dynamite next week or whenever she actually gets handed a mic to speak her mind. You know, I tell you one thing, right? I know last year, was it the year before, she did make an appearance in Ring of Honor. It didn't make that much of an explosion compared to what you've done recently in at Revolution. You know, and it's made a really bad impact, I feel. Although it could have reverse effect, it could have made a good impact, you know, and I just want to see where this goes. You know, I'm not jumping to conclusions, but she adds nothing to AEW. Absolutely nothing. If you had one of the top female wrestlers that you've actually got currently on the independent circuit, maybe. But the problem where it lies is now you've sort of brought Ronda Rousey in the fold, and I feel like it doesn't suit AEW at all. Absolutely doesn't. That's just me being honest with you guys, and I'm really, really honest with you guys. I don't give a shit, and that's just me being honest. And I guarantee there's some fucking, if I share this on fucking Reddit, people will be like fucking being smart, being little shits, as they normally are. Um, but that's just me being honest. That is just me being honest. You've got a perfect women's division already. You're pretty much tarnishing it, bringing her into the company. And that's just me being honest. Tell me your thoughts. Please do interact with me in the comments, and I'll catch you guys for another video here on Wrestling Fan Open Mic Night. Thanks for listening, guys.